All right, YouTube. This Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit. This is Sunday morning, so I'm going to do a reaction to Don Lemon going on The View. Don Lemon goes on The View to try to assassinate the character of Elon Musk. Elon Musk gave him an opportunity to have a show on X, formerly known as Twitter. Elon Musk went with an agenda. His agenda was to censor and support censorship on X. Now, if you're a content creator on YouTube or Facebook or any other platforms, you can see that there's a large amount of censorship. You have to say words like unalived and great. You have to change your whole language to talk about things that are normal in conversation when you try to communicate an idea. So the censorship is to stifle the accurate communication of an idea. Because what does it mean if I say someone is unalived? You know, it's a social engineering system that they're using to change the very vernacular and nomenclature of how people speak. And when they change how you speak, they can change how you communicate and convey ideas. So he goes on a view and he attacks Elon Musk because Elon Musk seen through his agenda. His agenda was of the left. You should censor and be responsible for what people say on your platform. But if you have a free platform, why are you censoring me? That means your platform is not free. Now, when we look at the Democratic Party and their shields and the people who they got on a payroll to sway public opinion and to mislead the masses, everything is about language. Because if they can change the way you talk and we talk to each other, then they can change the way we convey ideas. And if we do that, then everything is lost in the meaning. You always lose things through transliteration. You know what I mean? When you start changing the words, like no uh, Hispanic person whose name is Pedro wants to be called Peter, because when you call him Peter, he loses his ethnic identity when his name is Pedro, even though they mean the same thing. Now, what Don Lemon does is he changes and he plays word games, because they assume that the American populace are dumb. And what this is a battle between the people's media and mainstream media, which is directly being controlled and manipulated by the powers that be. They're pushing a narrative which is against free speech and against the people of the United States of America. Now, Don Lemon and the witches of the View, they feel that they have a voice that should drown out the voices of the people. That will never happen, because you know what they say. They say, I think Martin Luther King said it, that when men don't speak out against injustice, it's consent to the injustice. Now I'm going to do a reaction to Don Lemon's. I don't know if it's an interview. I wouldn't call it an interview. I would call it theater, because it's really another hit piece on Elon Musk, because they fear that Elon Musk will come out and support Trump, even though Elon Musk says he hasn't made a statement of who he's going to support. He just say he's not going to support Biden. So you know what that means. You know that Biden is losing the intelligentsia of this country. You know, the intelligent people are breaking away because we can see through the lies and we can see exactly what's happening. We can see our borders invaded. We can see our speech being limited. We can see the erosion of the Constitution of the United States. You know, they want to say that they're trying to save democracy, but this is a republic. This is a constitutional republic. The laws of this country is the Constitution, and the First Amendment being number one, the freedom of speech and the freedom to seek redress. Without freedom of speech and the ability to file grievances and seek redress, we live under tyranny. Then another thing is taxation without representation. Isn't that what the war in 1776 was about? Even when you go to the war in the 1800s, the Civil War, wasn't that about liberties and upholding the Constitution? Well, in this late time in this country, they think that the people will sit idly by while they take our rights and dictate to us what we can say and what we can't say. Everything they accuse Trump of is exactly what they're doing, and that's clear. All you got to do is pay attention. When Trump was in office, did you ever hear him trying to censor anything? Elon Musk bought Twitter because they banned Donald Trump from Twitter. And he seemed like, how can you, if you can ban a president from being able to speak on a platform, then what chance do the actual citizens have to free speech on that platform? Now, it gets deeper because they use the shows like The View to appeal to a certain type of American. The type of American who loves liberalism over freedom. And they think that liberalism is freedom. How can you be free in a country with no rules where everybody is allowed to do whatever they want? That means that the strong will always overcome the weak, and those with money will always rule. You know, there was a thing we used to say back here in Detroit when I was young. If life was a thing that money could buy, all the rich people would live and all the poor people would die. Think about that. So bear with me through watching this view and you tell me what you think. And like always, I say to my subscribers, pay attention to the wordage that they use. And another thing to my subscribers, my phone number and my email is in the description because eventually they're going to want to try to silence me because they don't like the things that I say. But I'm not going to stop talking. Like one of my subscribers said, he said, why don't I go live? To go live and to make it impactful, you need more subscriber interaction for a live because a live video, you're actually using their platform for streaming versus me making a video and then just uploading it. When I stream live, that's called live streaming. They in control of my live stream. You know what I mean? More so than they could with an uploaded video. Uploaded video is all my content using my own phone or my own iPad or my own computer. You know what I mean? It's a lot of rules that they use to confine you. So you need more subscriber interaction in order to make a live effective. But again, we're going to get off into the clip. It's for fair use of the 1976 Copyright Act for commentary and educational purposes. Let's listen to Don Lemon and the Witches of the View.
Okay, here's the story before we go. He's having a menopausal story. So Don Lemon was supposed to kick off.
Okay, we're going to start there with her off the cuff joke. She says Don Lemon is fanning himself because he's going through menopause. That's her first joke. You know, we know he's a member of the LGBT community, but that's her first joke. You know, she's free to say that, but if I was to say it, it would be considered hate speech because he's a male. It's impossible for him to be going through menopause. So we're going to start there about the double standards and the hypocrisy of the left.
of his partnership with Elon Musk on the billionaire social media platform X, also known or previously known as Twitter. But next week, but instead, Musk just ended up cutting ties with our darling Don Lemon after a rather tense interview session. Watch.
Hate speech on the platform is up. Do you believe that X and you have some responsibility to moderate hate speech on the platform? That you wouldn't have to answer these questions from reporters about the Great Replacement Theory as it relates to Democrats? I don't have to answer these questions. The Great Replacement Theory as it relates to Jewish people. Do you think that? I don't have to answer questions from reporters. Don, the only reason I'm doing this interview is because you're on.
Stop right there real quick. No one has to subject themselves to be questioned or interrogated by the media. In this country, you have a Fifth Amendment. You can't even be interrogated by governmental authorities, courts, judges, police officers. You can say, I plead the Fifth. I don't have to answer any of your questions. So what makes Don Lemon think that Elon Musk has to answer his questions? This is the arrogance. This is the manipulation of people's mind by the left in their liberalism. You know, who wanted the country to be so liberal that they can transgender your children? And the main right that women want is the right to abort their child, as if abstinence is not a solution. Don't carry before you're married is not a solution. The Bible and the Word of God is not instructions on conduct in a so-called Christian nation. See, again, we fight not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. So look at his arrogance as he thinks he's saying, Elon Musk, you don't think that you would have to be held accountable? Like this is this new thing that these people have out. They're going to hold you accountable. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to hold somebody else accountable. Nobody can hold me accountable but me. Nobody. I don't have to answer any questions. I don't have to subjugate myself to any interviews or any interrogation because I'm free here. And the only way you can take my freedom from here is if you take my body and my life, and then my mind and my soul is still free. It's impossible for you to really take my freedom. So what they do is they try to take your rights.
The X platform, and you asked for it. Otherwise, I would not do this interview. So you don't think do you think that you wouldn't get in trouble or you wouldn't be criticized for these things? I'm criticized constantly. I could care less.
Luxury is where you are. Haagen-Dazs caramel cone. That's Daz.
What a snowflake. What a snowflake.
Wow. I could use some
please
snowflakes
welcome
right now.
Don Lemon.
So I wanted to say that I was determined to get a reason to have the fan is because I jumped out of the car sitting in traffic at Times Square.
Yeah.
No, at Herald Square. I jumped out of the car, got on the subway, and ran 8 blocks just to be with you.
Did you really?
I did.
I'm glad you explained it because TMC is going to be.
TMC is outside, by the way.
Now Don Lemon's running down the streets of New York like a crazy man. Okay, so before we get to what happened exactly that happened, let's back it up a bit because when you left CNN last year, Elon Musk actively courted you to be on Twitter, X, whatever he called.
He didn't leave CNN. CNN fired him. The thing about this guy, CNN fires him. He's offered a job working with Elon Musk on X. He loses that gig and he goes right back to the people that fired him, complaining as if he wants to be accepted back into the fold. You know what I mean? The weakness of this individual is ridiculous. You're not gonna fire me and then I come back to you and give you business.
Have you considered doing a show, he said, on this platform? Maybe worth a try. Audience is much bigger, said Elon Musk. But everyone knows how controversial Musk is. So I have to ask you, didn't you know this was going to end badly? He's, Musk is not really,
I went into this with my eyes open. And look, this is just an old saying in the South. And they say,
Wait a minute. Musk is not really, what are you saying about him? They like to, these simpletons want to say that people are unintelligent. They want to say Donald Trump is unintelligent. They want to say that Elon Musk is unintelligent, while they say the dumbest things that you could possibly think of and disperse it for public consumption. You know what I mean? Which tells you the mentality and the simple mindedness of their audience. They like to talk about conservative people, but these liberals are the most asinine people in the way they perceive history, the present, and reality, because they're so wrapped up in their so-called agenda, which is to spread the idea of democracy to the four corners of the world, when everybody is rejecting that utopian idea that comes from Plato's Republic, that doesn't even exist except in the mind of men.
you knew I was a snake before you picked me up.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a snake, but I'm just saying that it's relative
Right.
To this. So I went into this with my eyes open, but truly, I went into it with the best of intentions. I heard your conversation just briefly about independence. I am an independent, regardless of what people think. Elon Musk thinks I'm on the left, what have you. I'm an independent. I believe in free speech. I believe that people.
See how they lie to your face? Don Lemon is not an independent. He's a Democratic. He's on the left. His whole lifestyle, everything about him is leftist. But he comes out there because he wants to appeal to a person who can't read between the lines. Everything about him and how he lives his life shows you he's on the left. So why not say that? They act as if the American public is so blind that we can't see them clearly. So they continue to try this manipulation, and it's not working, which is dangerous in this country, because the Democrats in the left, they seem to be the most threatening to this republic. Look how they talk to conservatives. Look at the negative things. Look how they attack conservative people. And conservative people have been playing nice with them, because ever since January 6th, they call that an insurrection, which nobody has the time to actually look up the word insurrection. You can't have an insurrection and you don't have any weapons. You just got to protest. You're protesting. An insurrection is something different, but they use it as a button word so that you will stand down while they get more aggressive. They want us to be cowardly in the face of their attacks.
Have the right to say whatever they want to say, but you suffer the consequences for it when you say it.
Right.
I took them at their word. They courted me for months.
Yeah.
And when their new CEO came aboard, she courted me. The management team courted me. They sweetened the deals with incentives. And I said that was the biggest and best place for me to launch a show. And because you know what's happening with television now, and what have you, it's shrinking.
Yeah.
But I thought, why seed Twitter or X is one of the biggest social media platforms in the world, one of the biggest information platforms in the world. Why cede that platform to extremists?
Yeah.
So I wanted to get on there and I wanted to fight it out so everyone could have a voice.
Yeah. And they would basically.
I'm going to ask the public a question. When they say extremists, isn't it extreme for you to send your child to school and the teacher is helping your child determine his gender and working with CPS and government officials to reinforce the child's understanding of what male and female is, that's not extreme. Isn't it extreme to have a policy that you market to a populace of people and it's nothing but abortion? And people say, I want abortion. I'm a woman. I want to control the right to my body. You do control the right to your body. You decide who you sleep with. You just decide whether or not you want to use protection. You decide all these things. But you want to be irresponsible, and then abortion is your fail safe, but you claim to be a Christian nation. It's been a lot of people that are my subscribers that are told to talk to me and told me that they are even being kicked out of their churches. These Christian churches that's on the left are alienating and kicking out parishioners who have been contributing, donating to the upliftment of that church simply because they don't agree with the left. So it's like the Bible says, the devil has deceived the whole world. And Jesus said they have turned the house of God into a den of thieves. And people march on blindly as if they don't know right from wrong. And that's why they say that people on the right are dangerous, because we keep standing up and speaking on what's right in the face of the lies and the dishonesty. I'm not going to play all of this. I'm going to let you see a little bit more.
Begging you to do it.
Yeah. They were.
And you did it even though a lot of your friends told you were crazy.
Like you.
Thank you.
Like you.
I did too. But so Elon Musk.
He was crazy to think that he could fool Elon Musk. I do agree.
Famously claims to be a big proponent of free speech. He refers to himself as a free speech absolutist. He calls X the digital town squares. Yeah. And he willingly agreed to this interview that you asked for, and said that there were no restrictions. So what exactly happened? What set him off? And then he sends this terse text to your agent saying, contract is canceled. What was your reaction?
The law doesn't really work like that, Elon. Go ahead.
Well, all right, we'll talk about that yet, because there's a lot going on about that. What happened? Really, look, I would say that is that's a good question for Elon Musk, because he knows who Don Lemon is. Mm-hmm. He knew who I was. He asked me to come on the platform. He offered incentives and money. They agreed to a deal. They flew me out to Las Vegas to announce this at CES. They trotted me out in front of clients, in front of advertisers. I went to the X, the Twitter offices to do client meetings and to try to entice advertisers back to the platform. So I was a good soldier. I was doing my job. So what happened? I think it was just uncomfortable for him to sit in front of.
Elon Musk found out he definitely was a good soldier for the left. He wasn't coming as an independent. He was coming as somebody who was going to infiltrate and undermine the platform that Elon Musk just purchased.
Someone and actually have to answer questions, to be held accountable.
Right.
To really,
There they go again with holding up people accountable. Who is Don Lemon to hold any man accountable? How can Don Lemon hold a man accountable? And when you look at the interview, he kept talking about people like me. People like you want to have the right to be people like you. So don't step outside of that and try to hold me accountable based on your worldviews and your lifestyle.
Instead of being in a friendly, usually for the most part, his interviews are with a friendly crowd.
Did he not ever see you on television?
Yeah, that's what I didn't understand.
Yeah. Yes, but I would be.
You are his employee. You are not a partner over at X. How many people would let somebody that they hire attempt to undermine them in public and undermine the very business that they've been hired to promote?
Well, he thought because he was.
He thought he
paying
bought you.
You were supposed to kneel
He
at the
must
altar.
But that's not what journalists do.
Right.
I know that, but here's
And there's, listen, there are people out there saying, you shouldn't. He was your boss. First of all, he's not my boss.
Right.
I didn't work for X. They had no editorial control over my show. They were a distribution partner. It was not an X show. Everyone thought it was an X show.
Right.
They only had exclusive content, just a couple of, episodes, 3 episodes a week, but like 10 minutes on top of that for 10 times a month. They had exclusive content that was, to be exclusive to them for 24 hours, and it was going to go everywhere.
That
My show is always going to go everywhere.
That sounds like a good contract.
Yes, it is.
You're still going to put it on X.
Of course I'm going to put it on X, and I would dare anyone, and especially Elon Musk.
I'm going to stop there and end it, because at the end of the day, he still said that he was going to use X to promote his show. So that means Elon Musk didn't put any restrictions on him, because he's still able to use the platform. I want you to play this in your mind, what you've seen, and think about everything that was said. Signing to you out of Detroit. It's Detroit's HPTV. Like, share, and subscribe. Salute all patriots.